This is the patient information leaflet for the study titled Maximising Equity and Accessibility of Acute Stroke Care Pathways in Ireland, an interview to understand patient outcomes and experience. Part 1, describing the study. Why is this study being done? The Health Research Board is funding research which examines the experience of patients who have had a stroke recently. We wish to understand how best to plan and organise stroke services to meet the individual needs of people who have a stroke. We are interested in the whole patient journey from the moment the stroke symptoms started until a person gets home again. In this study, we're especially interested in the early or acute phase of stroke. And by speaking with people who have recently had a stroke, we might see patterns in their stories that could help us identify areas for improvement in care and services. We want to make every patient's stroke journey better and reduce any potential after effects that a person might have after a stroke. Your experiences are very valuable to us, and we believe that hearing your story will help us improve care for other people who have a stroke in future. Who is organising and funding this study? The study has been organised by a team of researchers who work at Beaumont Hospital and at the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. The study is funded by a grant from the Health Research Board, or HRB, and is part of a postgraduate degree, or PhD, for a doctor who works in stroke in Ireland. Why am I being asked to take part? We are asking you to consider taking part because we feel we can learn from your recent experience of having a stroke. We believe that understanding your individual stroke journey can help us improve how stroke care is organised for everyone who has a stroke in future. You've been contacted now because you already participated in a survey about stroke when you were in Beaumont Hospital around 3 months ago. At that time, you gave the research team permission to contact you again to talk about the second part of the study, an interview that would involve discussing your experience of having a stroke in more detail. After a period of about 3 months has passed, about 1 in every 5 people who completed the survey are being invited for an interview to discuss their experiences in more detail. How will the study be carried out? This is the second part of the study where some people who completed the survey are now being invited to take part in an interview about their experience of the past 3 months. Interviews will last about 40 to 60 minutes and can be held at your place of residence, on the RCSI Beaumont Hospital campus, or online if you prefer. The researcher will accommodate your preferred way of conducting the interview. For example, she can visit you at your place of residence or arrange a video call on an online platform like Zoom or MS Teams if you prefer. And if you prefer to be interviewed on the RCSI Beaumont campus, this can all be arranged at a time of your choosing. The researcher will ask you some questions about your experiences and your conversation will be recorded. The transcripts or recordings of all of the participant interviews will be reviewed later to find patterns in the stories that might help us understand aspects of the stroke journey that work well and aspects that could be improved for patients and for families. What will happen if I agree to take part? If you agree to participate, you'll be asked to sign a consent form to give your permission to participate in the interview. You're under no obligation to participate in this second part of the research study. Then the researcher will review your electronic medical records to see if you've had any new visits to the hospital or tests or scans since the survey was completed. This is to ensure that the researcher is as up to date in your care as she can be before you meet. An interview will then be arranged at a time and place that suits you, and during the interview the researcher will ask you questions about your experiences at the time of your stroke, your time in hospital, and after you went home or to a rehabilitation unit. The researcher will be very interested in observations that you may have about things that went well and things that you feel could have been done better. If you have ideas or opinions on how to improve the patient journey and experience, we would really like to hear them. If the interview is in person, you'll be recorded in sound only and will use a voice recorder. If the interview is via an online platform, then a video will also be recorded with your permission. This video will be deleted as soon as the researcher is sure that your words have been recorded properly in a transcript or a written record of the conversation. The video will generally be deleted on the same day as the interview so that only the transcript of your words are saved. If you prefer not to record the video, then the conversation can be recorded in voice only using a voice recorder which would be held near the researcher's laptop. You can stop participating in the interview at any time. For example, you may experience tiredness and need to rest, or if recalling or describing details of your stroke causes you any distress or upset, you can tell the researcher that you wish to stop answering any questions at any time. You can stop for a break temporarily, or you can withdraw from the study altogether. This will not impact your future medical care in any way. Your distress will be acknowledged and supported. The researcher will ring you the day after the interview to see how you are and to answer any questions that you might have, and this conversation will be a check-in on your well-being and will not be recorded. What are the benefits? Time is very important in stroke care, and we want everyone to get to hospital as quickly as possible if they think they might be having a stroke. While you may not benefit directly, it is hoped that the results of this study will help people who have a stroke in future to have the fastest possible access to the care they need. We want to improve how stroke services are planned and organised to make them as fast and efficient as possible for everyone, so that people have as little after effects from their stroke as possible. What are the risks? This study involves an interview with questions about your recent experience of stroke. For some people, this might be distressing to recall. If you experience any distress during or after the questions in the interview, you can speak about this to the researcher or to your medical team. Also, the Irish Heart Foundation have a stroke support group who can be contacted by telephone on 01 6685 001, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And they can also be contacted by email using the address email support@irishheart.ie. That's support@irishheart.ie. What if something goes wrong when I'm taking part in the study? It's very unlikely that anything will go wrong as a result of participating in this study. However, if you feel distress as a result of the interview, you can speak to the researcher or to your GP, and this form has the contact details of the research team on page 1, 7 and 8, whom you can contact for advice or support. Is the study confidential? All information collected will remain confidential at all times. Your personal details, name, date of birth, address and contact details, such as telephone number and email address, will be coded so that only the research team will be able to determine your identity. We will let your GP know if you participate unless you prefer that your GP is not made aware. If, however, your answers to the interview questions indicate that you're very distressed, then your GP and stroke consultant will be told so that they can support you appropriately. Your medical records will remain in the possession of Beaumont Hospital at all times and never removed from the hospital for this study. You have the right to access all the information gathered with regard to your contribution to the study. We hope to publish the results in scientific journals. However, you will not be identifiable in any publication, and we will anonymously acknowledge your help in the study in future publications.